All right. So, a critique of YouTube. Um, grab yourself a beverage and pull up a chair. Pause here if you're not ready. You're going to want to be. All right, now that we've all got our coffee, I have a few things I have to say about the old YouTubes. Um, I mean, we all know gun content just has a hard time. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to say that word and just make it so that I get completely shadow banned right out the gate. So now we're not going to hurt the fifis too much. I'm just kidding. I'm going to hurt everybody's feelings today. I'm about to have some fun with these people because seriously, we all know the spiel. You are not allowed to criticize the master. I'm sorry, but why the fuck are you even on the internet? Why do you have a business on the internet? Why do you exist on the internet at all? If you are not open to being criticized. Hello, come in Berlin. Yay, all Facebook, MySpace, Yelp, Reddit. I mean, fucking hell, Reddit. You go to Reddit and you expect to not get criticized. I'm sorry to tell you this, but Reddit might make it so that you won't see the comments made to you, but that's about it. You are gonna get lambasted. So, like, what's all this bullshit about? Oh, well, we don't write content. So, you don't like gun content, so you ban people like Tap and Ball Channel, who does educational shit. You ban people like Duelist Den. You know, Duelists, what 1975? I don't remember exactly what his channel's actual handle is. Mike Bellevue. Um, you shadow ban the shit out of their videos or whatever. You go after anybody, mind you, that does video content. I mean, I've gotten a strike for for funny as it might seem, having an opinion and standing up in front of the camera. Mm-hmm. Dozens of videos that have had pictures of my my guns. I've shown me making swords. But I get a strike for standing up because it showed my gun in a holster on my hip. Not because I was doing anything else, because I stood up in front of the camera. They sent me the whole thing that you normally get and all that fun shit. And the time code was me literally standing up. I'm sorry, but you have a problem with the midsection of a man, but you'll put like women on the YouTubes that are barely clothed. God. Um, and I've even seen live streams of what could only be described as pornography. And I'm astonished that it was even allowed to happen because this is after all of that was like not okay. And then they come after creators like Matt from Demolition Ranch. They come after creators like Brennan Herrera, the top guys. And the reason why they're top guys is because they do good content that's educational and at the same time happens to be a certain, how would I say it, a subject, subject matter that a lot of people, especially here in the United States, they really appreciate. They enjoy it a lot. You know, like for me, for instance, I love chemistry. I love all sorts of chemistry, but I especially love organic chemistry and doing things that you know might be considered a little bit dangerous. But I digress. My whole point is that I understand when I get, like age restricted, shadow banned, and all that stuff. Most of the time, that's me doing it. Okay, like honest to God, that's me sitting there checking, not made for kids. Hello. I cuss like a sailor. My granddad was a sailor. My dad was a Navy brat. Okay? He was also a machinist. I was an exotic animal caretaker and also a mechanic. There is no such thing as a cuss word I ain't heard yet. There is no such thing as an insult that I have not heard spoken. Okay? I grew up with this shit. So sitting there and says, "Oh, we're afraid of inappropriate language," or "we're this, that, or the other." So I'm like, you dumbasses! I made my channel for adults, a public opinion forum for a reason. It's literally there so that it's like the only thing that you can't do is give me a strike because it's all public opinion. It's all opinion. Everything that I do on my channel is opinion. So, and opinion and expression content, basically. It's public forum stuff. Which is why when I hear this stuff like what's happening to like Bellevue, who does educational content, Cap and Ball Channel does educational content, you know, people who do educational content that actually gets through to our youth, by God. Like Brandon Herrera, I mean, oh my God, so horrible. A man who ran for Congress because he was sick and tired of Congress destroying his neighborhood and then gets branded as a Nazi because he made a few videos with some weapons from World War II, which is his channel's whole spiel and like his actual real world jobs whole spiel. I mean, my real world job is security. I'm a private security guard. My presence makes it so that people don't do stupid shit. That's the whole fucking point of me even being here. It's just as an added boogeyman to keep the bad guys away. So that's my job. I'm a security guy. I'm the guns that I use don't matter. The attitude that I have matters. and the attitude I show people is what matters. How to carry yourself so that you are that scary person. You can be the person that does that intimidation factor so you never have to get involved physically. How to be that confident individual that the bad guys avoid because they're intimidated. Can I say? I'm a scary individual for two reasons. One, you attack me physically speaking, I might shoot you. Two, more importantly, if you break the law around me, I'm kind of obligated to report you to the police. It's just how it works. This is one of those I've always warned my friends, don't do illegal shit around me. If you're gonna kill somebody, don't tell me about it. Da 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 da, all this sort of shit because I'm obligated by law to report it. Not just as in like for the average civilian ideal of, oh well, I have the right to remain silent. No, I don't have the right to remain silent when it comes down to somebody else telling me about a crime they're going to commit. I want to make that abundantly clear. I can't do that legally speaking. Now, other people might be able to. They might be able to say, oh, well, I can't say anything about that. I plead the fifth. That's not something that you legally really can plead the fifth over, but whatever. For me, it's a little more complicated because I can lose my job. I can lose my standing, my legal status, even just by sitting there and not reporting somebody who has committed a crime in front of me or has told me of their instance of commission of a crime. I cannot, I walk away from that shit the best that I possibly can because I believe that you have the right to dictate your own destiny, how you're going to see that fit. But if you're stupid enough to go and wave your dick in front of me, I'm not gonna sit there and be like, dude, put that away. There's children around. No, I'm gonna be the one that slams your face in the dirt and then says, "All right, come and get this guy," because that's what somebody who's morally correct should already do, anyways. But like I said, I digress. All of this is secondary to what's most important about what I'm trying to say here. YouTube's shenanigans made it so that when I was a little bit younger, a few years ago, I went to Rumble to try and do that, just to try and protect my videos. Maybe make a buck, I don't know. That never fucking happened, by the way. I never made more than 25 cents. Or sorry, I made $1.25 off of Rumble. One time. I've never seen another fucking dime from them. Not once. So, no sweat. Oh, and by the way, I didn't actually make $1.25 off of it. I I received something like 75 cents. So it's like they get 50% or whatever. I don't fucking know. I don't care anymore. I honestly didn't get into YouTube to make money. I kind of figured back when I got my first check from YouTube that I was never going to make money doing this. I just do it for shits and gigglies because I'm bored. So, it's basically a middle finger to YouTube. Anytime they go and they shut me down, they're really screwing themselves because they're getting this content for free. I'm not spending any money making it. As a matter of fact, I'm making money otherwise. By showing it on the video, it's just another added bonus of I'm goofing around and, entertaining you guys. I'm already made money on it. On whatever I've done in the video. It's already an additional, you know, source of income to me. Relatively speaking. It's either created assets, it's created something I can utilize, da 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 da. For instance, my making black powder that I showed in a video a long time ago. Doesn't seem like much, but that was free. Quite literally, I just had to make that. But that's money I didn't have to spend. Money I don't have to spend in order to do my job, anyways. That's money I keep in my pocket. A penny saved is a penny saved is a penny earned, as old Benjamin Franklin would have said, if he was able to actually get his words across, unlike me. So, anyways, as it also says, what bothers me is that things like, just making it so that a cap and ball gun could be used for range time. Not even talking about, self defense, which is something that I'm big on. I mean, yes, more lethal. Yes, more. More, yes. So, if we're not allowed to show things like swords on YouTube, well, that's a strike right there. And I made this on YouTube. Literally made this in front of everybody on YouTube. That's one of my live streams. Several of my live streams. Making this. So tell me there, ScrewTube, if making weapons, showing them on the screens and all that fun shit is so bad, so horrifying, and yet it's a way that somebody might be able to make an income, might be able to do something with their lives, other than sitting here on the YouTubes and being screwballs. What makes that so horrible for them? In which case, when people come to the YouTubes for things like such, and you just force AI slop on them and garbage like that, do you think that they're going to see your platform as a resource or a liability? And if they see it as a liability, I want you to remember and understand basic human evolution. A human is evolved to ignore or negate things that do not add to their survival. If YouTube is detracting from somebody's survival because it is making them have to do more and more and more and more work to research a simple subject that they should have been able to pick up out of thin air, out of the blue, then even though you're gaining more engagement because they're having to go through more to try and find what they need, do you think that they're going to be a repeat customer? And by repeat customer, I mean, do you think that when they need something, when something is actually important to them in the future, they're going to come to you? Because this is what made YouTube such a large DIY base for people who like to do DIY and like to have, they have hobbies and stuff. That's what made YouTube so big about that. You could research something quickly, easily, succinctly, find out exactly what you needed to know, and then be able to apply it, even if you were not book smart. Because on a YouTube video, you could visually see what they were talking about and be able to apply it. Whereas you couldn't do that with a diagram, say, like doing mechanics and stuff like that. I mean, let's not even talk about the fact that, doing things like heat treating metal, you know, working an anvil, understanding the angle of a hammer, small things like that that you only pick up on visually. You cannot teach that. That's something you have to see. You have to learn it yourself. You can tell somebody about it all day long, and they won't get it until they understand why the angle of the face of the hammer and the angle of the piece of material makes all the difference. How is it that I got this design in the metal? How did I get that runnel? Well, how did I get that right there? Not a runnel. That's not a runnel. A runnel is a thin stripe. Damn it, I can't remember it now. Terminology. Lovely. I can't remember the freaking terminology that I should know because I do a lot of bladesmithing. Anyways, how would I have gotten this complicated shape if I didn't know how to turn my hammer face while making those impacts? And how many impacts it can actually take in order to make a section this big. Yes, that long. Hundreds of hammer impacts. There's a reason why it takes me years to make something like this. Not months, not weeks, years. Because a piece of artwork like this, a hard freaking it's not like you see in the videos and in the movies and stuff like that. People don't just and it's done. I mean, at least not somebody who does what I do, which is to change the actual material itself while I'm forging it. This started out as a piece of 1050 steel. Or sorry, no. I take that back. 5160. This started off as 5160 01 tool steel, also known as flat weld bar. It's the same metal. Now, I changed the chemical composition of the metal and made it into silicon combat steel, which is something that you only find in old crucible steels from the medieval period, just after that in the Renaissance. This is a type of blade steel that does not exist anymore. And I made that with a hearth that I made myself, and a hammer, and an anvil. And the knowledge in my noggin. That's what I'm saying. These are things you can't just poof and they're done, you know. You can't just, oh, well, I'm going to go and pull this out of my ass. You have to take decades to learn this stuff. Or you have to be taught by somebody who knows what they're doing. Which is why, like, things like, for instance, old Western guns and cowboy gunsmithing. Things that you can actually get into and do yourself. Okay, this is not something that you have to have an SOT to go and do. You're going to do machine guns, you got to have an SOT. You're going to do modern firearms, you got to have an SOT. But to do something like black powder cap and ball guns, You don't have to have an SOT. You don't have to have an FFL or manufacturer's standard certificate. You don't need any of that. Because legally speaking, it is not a firearm. And for personal, you don't even need that. But if you were going to do it on a video or something, then you kind of need that for modern firearms. You don't need that for cap and ball guns. And that's the beauty of it. At least in the United States, you don't need all of that. All you need is the know-how and the gun in the United States to be able to do cap and ball modifications, what have you, yourself. Because YouTube is a form of commerce. So if I was to do a remaking of a cap and ball gun and make it into a modern firearm, that would be illegal. However, making it so that a cap and ball gun operates appropriately is not. So the whole thing about blocking Mike Bellevue's video of him slicking up an action on a pistol that was cap and ball revolver, that's wrong. It's actually even against YouTube's policies, even though they're so vague on their policies, you can't figure out what their policies are. And then what's worse is that when they do try to clear it up, it only muddies the water worse. I mean, for instance, I know that I can show this on the YouTubes and they're not going to freak out. I know I can show my freaking cap and ball pistol on the YouTubes and they're not going to freak out. But the moment that I go and I take the handle off of the freaking cap and ball revolver, or I show how to put a handle onto a sword, they freak the fuck out. In case you've been wondering why I haven't been uploading that kind of content lately, it's all been nothing but op-eds. The op-eds will continue until the freedom improves. You understand me now? Kind of like, hey, the bombing will continue until freedom improves over there in Iraq and Afghanistan. Basic same idea. Only difference is I'm not dropping bombs. Well, I'm dropping truth bombs, but there's a little different. They don't explode. There's no fire. Anyways. So now that I've done triggered every last bit of the algorithm to go and lose their minds. Oh, yes. I'm going to try and keep this under the 30-minute mark, but no guarantees. I thought it were giggle worthy that, we've all seen different companies shoot themselves in the foot lately. I mean, there's Budweiser, there's the Olympics, there's NFL, there's... God, I could literally go on for days. Victoria's Secret, oh my God, that was a debacle. But anyways, it's these things that I'm pointing out. So any of you who are here on YouTube with me, thank you for riding it out and being tough sons of bitches. But the reality of it is, YouTube isn't going to be around forever, guys. I'm just going to break it to you. If it continues on the path that it's been on, this isn't going to exist. It's literally going to go under. Because people will only put up with so much, as long as they're getting that reward, that dopamine hit. They'll only put up with so much. Even an addict will turn around and refuse crack when they know that it's nothing but soap. You don't believe me? Go down to, San Pedro and ask some of those crackheads if they like smoking soap. Just telling you. when they know when people know that it's fuckery, they're gonna turn around and get real fed up real quick. So, if you found this interesting or educational or entertaining in any way, or I don't know if you have a similar opinion to me, I want you to go and just wanted you to go and shiv that little like button over there, right down over there. Go and shiv that like button over there. And if you're not subscribed, well, that's your choice. I don't fucking care. I really don't. But we do some crazy ass shit here on this channel. I mean, I do some crazy ass shit on this channel. And if you aren't, part of the guard, you just won't know about it. So go do the things. But as it were, don't do what I do. Definitely go and tell YouTube, ScrewTube, what you think of them down in the old comment section down below. And I will see y'all later. This is ye old guardsman. I'm in, you motherfuckers. I'm out. I can't reach.